What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mo Buckets podcast. My name is Hoodie Ben. As always, I got my full squad here. To my right, we got Magic Mitch.
What up?
And then to his right, we got the Vision. Frankie Vision, what's good?
What's good?
And to round it off, we got the big man in the middle, Jimmy Buckets.
Yo.
Yo, fellas, man, how you guys feeling?
Fun week to the NBA, man. Second weekend. A lot of numbers and a lot of highlights to look through, man.
Yo, man, tons. Should we jump into this? Y'all ready? Let's do this. All right, so we got the Mo Buckets of the week for this week goes to none other than,
Been Steph Curry with the shot, been cooking with the sauce, Chef Curry with the pot, boy.
They're acting like they're the defending champs again, man. They're 3-0 last week. They beat down on New York, Brooklyn, Chicago. We all saw what happened with Chicago. Klay Thompson, this dude is just on another planet, shutting down all the haters in terms of him, shooting 13% from threes this season. This dude dropped 14 threes in 27 minutes for a new NBA record, held by none other than his buddy, Steph Curry, man. These guys are looking like, dude, unbeatable. They look invincible. What do you guys think, man? How are they looking?
It looked crazy, the fact that Chicago was just allowing all these threes. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if any other team would have given that up other than Chicago. I mean, Klay will get hot no matter what, but, it's crazy to me that they just weren't even doubling him or anything.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when you have, 60-something points, 70 points by the first half, you kind of just give up, right? Like, I don't...
They had, they got scored 90 points on?
92.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
92.
there was 7 minutes left in the second quarter, and it was already 60-something points. It was crazy. It was absolutely ridiculous, man.
Yeah, because at that point, honestly, I would have done box plus one. Just have somebody just
do anything
there, or double team him. Double team this dude. You should be triple teaming him.
I honestly think they wanted the record broken. They're like, let's see it happen.
Our name's going down the books.
Exactly. At least they're in the record books that they were part of something. Just like how Raps were part of the 81.
I was just going to say, was that reminiscent of the Kobe 81 game? Because if you think about it too, right? Klay, he only played 28 minutes. If it was actually a competitive game and it mattered a little bit more, he could have done, he could have scored a lot more than 52. He could have had more threes.
They subbed him out.
26.3 minutes.
They subbed him out with how many minutes left in the 3 minutes left in the third quarter, right?
Third quarter,
and it's just, at that point, it was just too much, man. But
it's crazy too. If they doubled Klay, he can pass it to Curry. He can pass it to Durant. That's not fair.
There's too many scoring options on that team, right? And they all can shoot from range, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Dude, 14 of 24. The fact that you took 24 shots from three, the team was funneling him shots. It was like a circus, man. Very reminiscent of the Kobe 81 game.
Do you think there'll ever be a game where the game's not done after the third quarter kind of thing in this type of scenario? Or you think it's always going to be a blowout?
I hope so, because then I think that's really the only way that this record would get broken. Because if they're just blowing teams out, there's no reason to leave them in. Say they get hurt. That'd be terrible if that happened. I think, to your point, it has to be a competitive game for it to be broken at this point.
But does it, though? If it's competitive, I don't think Klay's not getting those open looks. I feel like if it's competitive, someone's going to follow them. I don't know. I kind of agree with what you're saying, just in terms of having that back and forth. But if you saw all the shots that he took yesterday, they were wide open, pretty much wide open.
I think that's why. I think it's Chicago. It's because of how bad their defense is.
Yeah.
Okay, regardless of that, though, I think we have to give the Mo Buckets of the week, the Golden State Warriors as a team, their credit, right? They've been playing so fluidly. Steph and Klay, they don't have issues with hogging the ball, taking too many shots. You don't hear any issues regarding that. Mm-hmm. They have a good locker room, and they play both sides of the floor. Over 7 games now, 7-8 games, they've got a point differential of 13.5, right? They play on both ends of the floor.
Did you hear about how I think someone asked Steve Kerr about the record, and he's he didn't even realize that he was going to break the record, and then I think he wanted Klay out, and Klay's oh, give me 2 more, give me 2 more, and then Kerr looked back at Curry, and he's wait, do you have the record? To Curry, and he's yeah, I do, and then he left him out. I think that speaks to the team that and the culture that Golden State has built, that they're willing to be that unselfish.
That's so true, man. And I think the stats reinforce that more. They're ranked first in points and in assists. Over the course of the season, they've made 373 shots. On that, they've been 237 of them were assisted. 65% of their field goals are assisted, which is pretty crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, that's their whole offense, too.
Right? Like, it's just
Yeah.
everything. Like, there's so much good ball movement. There's so much good passing. And to Mitchell's point, they're all willing to make the pass, even though they're all lethal shooters themselves. It's a pleasure, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the perfect example is Steph, you know, like him coming into this dude was hot. He put like 11 threes. He did the Jordan shrug. This guy was, he's feeling it, man. And I read somewhere like he was even on pace to break like over 500 threes. Obviously, like he probably won't keep that up, but for him to have that kind of streak going into this, and then just when he sees his brother Klay get hot, he's like, he's feeding him the ball. Like he was celebrating as much as him, right? So that rubs off, man. It's crazy. But I want to ask you guys this, man. Okay, so everybody thinks that Steph Curry is the best shooter on the planet, right? And rightfully so. After Klay put up that record, Isaiah Thomas went on the record and he tweeted that Klay Thompson is the best shooter in the world. Is that fact or foolishness? Who you guys got? Who's the best shooter in the world? When they're both hot. Let's say like they're both streaky hot, like who's the best shooter?
I feel if when Klay's hot, like on fire, he's the best. But the thing is, he has to get his shots set up. He's always the catch and shoot.
True.
Curry can just do like a couple dribbles, play around, and just still make a shot from a ridiculous ridiculous pace.
Yeah, I agree with Jimmy's point. And like, what are we saying is the best shooter? Like whoever is the most consistent, who has the best range, right? Like I think Klay Thompson, if you're gonna put on 1 foot outside the 3-point line, Klay will probably hit at a higher clip than Curry will. But in terms of just like freedom on the court, but I'm just saying, like if you take 1 foot inside the half court, I'm giving that to Curry any day, right? Like, his range is limitless. But if I'm just gonna say, hey, take 100 shots, both of you, who can shoot more consistently? Probably Klay at a shorter distance. At the 3-point line, just in terms of like limitless, Steph Curry.
I mean, to me, it has to be Steph Curry just because everything he's done, right? I mean, Klay, he was inconsistent at the start of the season.
True.
He was in a huge slump.
He was in a huge slump, but he always will have these games where he just explodes.
Yeah.
Right?
He just goes nuclear.
He goes crazy.
Yeah, he was crazy. Like,
37 points in a quarter too.
Yeah.
Like that's something that we haven't even seen Steph do,
14
right?
threes, right? And like Klay's the type of person where he's just so consistent when he gets to like a solid shot, right? Like when he gets to a solid zone, it's hard, man. It's
Wait,
hard.
to take your question a little bit further, say team's down 2, you need a 3. Who are you going to give it to? Who do you run the play for? Do you run it for Steph or do you run it for Klay? Or do you run it for KD?
Steph, 100%.
You still go to KD. Let's be real.
Nah.
KD in the playoffs with size, because he got the size too, man. He's a 7-foot shooter. It's not fair sometimes. And in the playoffs have shown that if you put the clamps, like you're able to at least slow down Steph in the playoffs.
So then is Klay an option?
Klay's an option.
I think Klay's an option if he's off a pick. If you do like a catch and shoot situation or like a driving kick or like they run the elevator.
But they could do it for all of them. They could run that for all 3 of them, right?
This is how you settle it, though. Look at the past 2 championships they've won. Who took the dagger 3? Who took the dagger 3?
That's true.
Both times in a row, right? And it's too much, man. He's 7 feet tall. He's got ridiculous wing length. You close
true.
with KD.
Yeah,
there's no question. No question.
But then, so then who's the best shooter in Golden State then?
I agree to both your points. It's either Steph or Klay, and it's day by day is different, man. Day by day, like that's what's so ridiculous about it, right? Like day by day, they can kind of top each other, which is just ridiculous, and that just goes to show the talent they have on this team.
Yeah, I think Frankie, you mentioned it in terms of just strictly shooting. Like I think even just the form, if you look at the fundamentals, the form, the mechanics, Klay does have the better shot mechanics. Like he has a prettier shot, he has the straighter, elbow,
release,
whatever.
yeah.
But
Everything's tight.
Steph has the quicker release, and I think Steph off the dribble is more dangerous. But just in terms of just spot up threes, like you said, just in terms of sheer volume, if
take
each of them
100
shoot like
threes.
100
Yeah.
threes, I think I have to go with Klay, man.
But let's be real, though. Steph has the better highlights.
Oh, confidence.
Oh, yeah.
They both scored
yeah.
50
No doubt.
points. Steph had the better
Yo,
highlights.
Steph will shimmy on you.
Yeah.
He'll turn around before the bucket goes in.
Like the shots where you see Steve Kerr raise his hands up, be like, "That's a terrible shot," and then he just gets it, and he's like, "Okay, whatever." Question like shots you should never take. You never want to teach young players to do this, but
Yeah. Yo, but Jimmy, who's got the better headband though? That headband Klay? I'll go with headband Klay all day. All right, so Golden State, y'all take the Mo buckets of the week. And let's flip it over now to the no buckets. We got none other than the Washington Wizards, man. 1-5. 0-3 last week. They lost to Golden State, which, understandable. But losing to Sacramento and the Clippers, man, dude, for a team that's supposed to be making noise in the East after they picked up Dwight Howard, these guys, the only noise they making is in the locker room between themselves right now, man.
To be absolutely fair, though, Dwight Howard is injured, right? Like, he hasn't played a proper minute yet on this lineup.
Okay, Frankie, they lost to Sacramento.
I'm not defending them, man.
I'm
not saying they don't deserve this belt, it's tough because I think Dwight would make a legitimate difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, do you think he makes that much? Like, if they had Dwight, do you think they beat Golden State? No.
They're a 500 team with Dwight. They're a 500 team.
Barely.
Those are some fighting words, man. 500 team, but actually, no. I think when you put it in context,
that's giving them like a benefit.
It's just crazy though. Like, everyone is team. Well, especially Beal and Wall when they have they talk so much about how good this team is and how high their expectations are for the team. But in reality, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see them near at the top of the East at all.
So let me ask you this. I think that begs the question because I agree with you. I think these guys are probably the only ones that believe in themselves. I don't know if a lot of people believe in the Warriors. I don't know if a lot of people believe in the Wizards because even when we did the top 5 PGs, we had Damian Lillard up in the top 5 PGs. Everyone's like, "Yo, John Wall should be up there, him over Dame every day." I'm like, this is the same old story we get from John Wall every single year. He'll play well for streaks, like for stretches, and then when it's time to show up, man, this guy's either missing clutch moment shots. He's like, I don't know if he's a franchise player, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I would not bet. I would not try to start my franchise with this guy.
Listen, very fair criticisms. Very fair. I think John, he's an athlete though. Like, he's one of the rare athletes now at the point guard position that's got it together like he does. His shot is not that great from outside, but that's why he's got a pretty Otto Porter and Beal to help him out. I think what the team's always been missing is a solid center. Like,
they have Gortat, man.
Gortat was not the center. You know, he was not.
Gortat, he was the perfect.
Where's he now? Ben, where's he now?
Yeah, but he was the perfect.
Ben, where's he now? How many stats he put? He's not the right guy. He wasn't going to be able to carry them, and his defense is not up there to anchor the team either. Right? Like, I think the hope for Dwight was that, hey, maybe he can turn the clock a few years back and bring some of that back because he would be a great fit. Like a young
Dwight wasn't bad in Charlotte.
Exactly.
Or in Atlanta, right? He wasn't bad.
Both. He was good on both. When he like the last few years when he was healthy, he had great seasons. Like pretty good seasons. So I think there's a lot of optimism for the Wizards from the offseason perspective, right? Coming into the season, there was a lot of optimism. They haven't translated it, but it's only been 6 games.
Okay, so say they have Dwight. Where do they rank in the East? Where would you put them?
I don't know, man. The East got better, as we've seen from some of these other teams, but
I already said they're maybe a 500 team with Dwight, and that could maybe scratch the eighth or ninth. Barely.
First round out though, so it don't matter. Don't matter. As much as they let's be honest. The last time they were relevant was when Paul Pierce was still on the team. Mm-hmm. Since Paul Pierce is gone, they've fallen with him.
To be fair, I think to Jimmy's point, I think they can get to the 8th seed. Might not advance, but that is a solid. If they're healthy, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, Dwight Howard, Morris,
they have talent. They do have talent.
You know what I mean? If they're actually all healthy.
Oubre's been really good.
Oubre's good off the bench.
Just because you have talent doesn't really mean much, right?
Agreed.
Where's the hard work? Where's the work ethic? Where's the chemistry? The key to your point of playing as a team is chemistry. Yeah. And I don't see it with the Wizards.
Yeah, and I think to that point, like whenever push comes to shove, one of my criticisms for John Wall is that he always points fingers. Him and Beal, they always point fingers to others, but they don't take ownership. Like you saw when Westbrook, like when he had he took some bad shots. They're off to a bad start. He was the first one to say, "Hey, no excuses. This one's on me. It won't happen again. I take full ownership." And then when Wizards are off to a bad start, Wall's pointing fingers. Hey, people in the locker room, have other agendas. Beal's pointing fingers. Dude, like you're the captains. You guys are the franchise players. Take ownership. That I don't know. So,
what do you think? Do you think that both Wall and Beal are on the team by the end of the season? Do you think they try and make a trade? Like, say they're 1-5 right now, right? If they keep playing like this, they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think that with the talent that they have, I don't think that's acceptable.
Who are you going to trade, Mitchell? What pieces do they have?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Like, who would you keep?
You have to keep John Wall. You have to keep Bradley Beal. You just paid Otto Porter. I don't know if you can get rid of any of those three. I don't think the pieces of Dwight are.
But that's the thing, right? Like if those are the most valuable guys, and you need to get value back, who do you keep?
That's a tough.
Or who
one,
do you
man.
trade?
You can't say you have to keep those three.
Yeah,
True.
You can look at the Raptors. We were first in the East last year, and Masai just said, later tomorrow we're gonna get Kawhi back.
So I guess what you guys are really asking is, do you trade John Wall? Is it? Have
No,
you guys?
It could be John. You could keep John Wall.
He's
but,
the
like,
most value, but that's the thing. If you're gonna
does
really
he, though?
trade,
Is he? Is he the most
This
valuable?
guy's on
though?
a
He can't
5-year
shoot.
contract, 5-year max, and he's gonna, he's signed through 2022 to 23. I don't know how much like teams are willing to bet for that type of player, man.
And it's for a guy who can't reliably shoot from the three,
Yeah.
right? So like, what do you do?
it's tough, right? In today's modern league, if you have a point guard that can't shoot, that's very detrimental to your team. But he's a freak. I really do think John Wall's a freak athlete. Great on defense, leads the league in like steals and blocks. Like always one of the like highs in that sense. And like,
But how far is that going to take you? How far
He
is that
hasn't
gonna
taken
he
him
needs
far.
pieces beside him though. Can you blame
But
him?
he has pieces. Right? There's talent on the Wizards.
There's the talent, but then like again, there is also the ego. They
Yeah.
have the ego, but they don't have anything to show for it. What have they shown in the last 5 years? A second round showing, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like
So
it's,
they peaked. Do you think they peaked?
They peaked, and they don't have upper management to hold them accountable of saying, John Wall or Bradley Beal, this is your fault. It goes back to who? Scott Brooks? I don't think he's a good coach. He messed up. He couldn't even handle it in OKC when they had like the four of them. Look what he's doing in Washington Wizards. Nothing.
I want to bring it back for 1 second because I think you've all brought up good points, and it sounds like the fundamental issue underlying all of it is the culture, right? And if you look at Washington, culture's just never been the same since Gilbert left. Yeah, ever since Gilbert, like no, seriously, ever since like that whole saga, it's just been a damper, right? Like, and I think they've never healed from that. They've never healed from the Gilbert Arenas era.
That was a
That's
turning
true.
point.
It's crazy.
The Washington Bullets.
The Washington Bullets. Yeah, they were one of the premier teams, right? And then you bring guns to the locker room, right? I think the culture, the ownership, maybe just never recovered, which is kind of sad to
It's
say.
crazy
but
too
hey,
that none of those guys that were in that are in the NBA anymore.
Yeah. Butler was the last one,
Butler's
right?
last
Cron.
one. When Antoine Jameson was out. Yeah, they're all
done.
wow. End of an era.
Stevenson was there for a while too. But where's he?
No, that's Deshaunty.
Deshaunty.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gone,
out.
yeah.
He's gone. Yeah.
No, I agree. Like the culture there, by all accounts, every single season, you hear stories come out of the locker room saying, people are blaming each other, no one's being accountable or being held accountable, and it happens literally every single season. It just so happens that this time, like it's already happened. Stories already coming out of the locker room. So yeah, I don't know where they go from here or what they can do to improve.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are just waiting for Dwight to come back, thinking that he's gonna solve everything.
But
hopefully,
Dwight himself-
he does solve some.
But
of it,
Dwight, again, every team that Dwight leaves, everyone's celebrating that he's left. Like, and then you're adding him to this locker room.
This
crazy.
toxic locker room. What's gonna happen?
Imagine like if Dwight doesn't like doing the pick and roll. The first time that John Wall plays with him, and he doesn't want to roll. Like I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's a rough one, man. But you know something? We'll keep it moving, man.
keeps it moving, man. So they get the no buckets of the week.
Yeah, man. So we'll just move on to storylines of the upcoming week and things that we've seen. One of the new debuts that have been hotly anticipated is the return of Russell Westbrook. Missing his first 2 games of the season, he finally came back to OKC, but that hasn't really come with success. They've struggled in the first 5 games, 1-4 right now. How do you guys think, man? How is this team looking?
I'm worried. If I'm an OKC fan, straight up, I'm worried. In that I think this team's gonna struggle a lot more than they did last year. And partly, we give a lot of criticism to John Wall. I think some of that falls with Westbrook too, just in terms of like his not his leadership, but his style of play. Because like his shot selection, at the end of the day, like I hate to say it because I'm a Westbrook fan, but his shot selection hasn't gotten much better. It has not gotten much better. Late game situations, he's still trying to be the hero, even when he shouldn't be. And like well, I don't know what else you can do. Like I think Billy Donovan is in the hot seat because again, like the talent was there last year. You know, you're gonna put the scapegoat with Melo. Now that he's gone, you're still struggling. Who's the next scapegoat?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree to your point exactly, and just to highlight that, his shot decision making is regardless of injury. Like some people were saying, oh, he's not as fast, he's not as quick. Shot selection is not based on your like health, right? And the fact that he's taking some bad IQ shots, you know, not good basketball decision shots, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary to see.
Yeah, like who they face when they face against Boston. Dude, there was 26-27 seconds left on the clock. This guy pulls up from deep. What? Just off of a fresh timeout. You had a full timeout to draw a play. What are you doing shooting that?
So how much of that though is on Westbrook, and how much is that on Billy Donovan? I mean, like the job of the coach to rein in the players, right, and get them to play a certain way.
Well, I'm pretty sure Billy Donovan didn't write that play up. Like, we're just gonna inbound the ball to Westbrook, and you just jack up a shot, 30 feet out.
That's the thing. Like, is Billy Donovan going to say anything? You think he says anything to Westbrook?
I'm sure he says something. Like I'm sure when listen, after the game, they all watch film together. I'm sure if not even Billy Donovan, the rest of the teammates are like, "Come on, Brody." Like some of these are just not the best. Like we all love you. You're Mr. Triple Double, right? They trusted him as a leader.
He took ownership of it, right?
Yeah.
He took ownership afterwards, but still, it's like
he's just like comes out of the timeout. Nah, guys, scrap
Nah, guys,
give me the ball. Give me the ball.
It's a tough one.
He's not LeBron.
Yeah, but you're right though. It leads to a good debate, right? Like, who do you put that blame on in terms of bad execution? Is that on the players or is that on the coach? I don't know.
It seems like he's just so used to playing a certain way. It's like once he gets in that moment, where he's like, "Oh, I could be a hero." He shuts all of that everything else that he's learned and developed, and he just reverts back to taking those same bad shots.
Agreed.
So what do you guys think? Are they going to be better at the end of the season than last year or worse?
Ooh.
I think a big thing is, they're still missing Roberson. Yeah. And Roberson was huge for their defense, and that was really what was great about OKC last season. In terms of whether they're going to be better or worse this year, I want to say that they're going to be better. I do think a lot of the struggles that they had is they didn't have Westbrook for the beginning of the season. So it's going to take him some time to get back into the swing of things. Maybe he just forgot. He came back and he forgot about all that. I want to say that they're going to be better.
Whatever the case, they can't afford to lose all these close games. They had like a huge lead against Boston, and they only scored 1 point in like the last 5 minutes of that Boston game. That's beyond choking.
It's just they just haven't figured it out. Like I think we said a lot of good points too. Russell just being injured, it does change the flow of the team. Maybe give him a few more days.
Do you put any blame though on Paul George?
I think all of them take blame. Everyone on that team takes blame. The coach takes blame. Paul George takes blame. Russell Westbrook. They're 1-4, man. They all take blame in this. It's just how they react. That's going to be the key thing to see. But yeah, man, not looking good so far to start off the season, man. 1-4, even with the return of Westbrook. Yeah. On to another struggling team. How are the Wolves looking, man? Jimmy Butler and Cat.
Ugh.
Odd moments here and there. A lot of drama in between. But, dude, how is Cat been doing, man? We've seen him struggle significantly. And, I think last week we saw the stat how JaVale McGee was averaging more points than Cat playing fewer minutes.
JaVale McGee.
Shaq the Fool MVP.
Yeah, so what do you think, man? It's not been pretty for Cat. We thought this might be the year he comes out and makes a big statement, especially despite all the drama in the offseason. Is Jimmy Butler really in his head? What's going on?
Yo, I think Shaq said it best. All right, this dude is making max. He just needs to shut his mouth, pull his panties up, and play. That's all it is, yo. Straight up. And I hate to say it because I think a big part of this is his immaturity, right? When you look at the fact that he's 22, Wiggins is young. Wiggins is what, 22?
He's 23.
23. Yeah. The fact that these guys are making max money. 190 mil. I think that has to soften them up to a certain extent, right?
I'm not gonna lie. When you're getting $190 million contract, bro, I can't even blame him for not being focused. It's I imagine all the things that must be going on. But when it comes down to the game, man, you got to deliver. And that's the thing. I get it. Like you can say, oh, Jimmy Butler saga, whatever, that drama got to his head. But there's no excuse, man. Like Jimmy Butler, at the end of the day, let's be honest. If he wasn't on that team right now, where would they be? They would be probably what, 0-7, 0-8, like 1 or 2 games, maybe one or 2 games. But I totally agree.
So I'm off this cat wagon
Wow.
train, man. I think he's struggling.
The thing is though, like, yeah, he's been bad to start the season, and obviously I think the Jimmy Butler situation is responsible for all of that. But he's only 22 years old, and this guy is averaged like 20 and 10 for his career already. He hasn't missed a game.
Dude, he hasn't missed a game for the past 3 seasons, which is crazy.
If you look at, he's the prototypical big man for this modern NBA. He can shoot, he can handle the ball, he can take you in the post. His defense has to improve for sure. But again, he's only 22. Like, I get that Butler is super important to this team, and he brings that attitude. But at the end of the day, if you are the Timberwolves, I think you would always side with Cat versus Butler.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Do you think Jimmy Butler broke him mentally? I honestly feel that Cat is he's mentally weak.
Okay. I want to slow it down here because I think this is kind of overblown a bit. Because to be fair, when you have a star teammate, in a game of 5 players, each one of them have a big impact on your own performance and the team's performance. There's a lot of drama going on this season, and we heard about like all these power dynamics happening. It's going to have a bit of an impact, but I feel as though it's kind of overblown because Cat's still doing all right, man. He's averaging 17.5 points, 9.9 rebounds, 2 assists. He got 4 blocks and a steal in his last game.
He had a huge game last
He had a huge game, 25, 16, 6. He's still a solid athlete. He's so young. And he's so durable. And I think that's one of the most incredible things. For a big man, he's so durable. Not missing a game in the past 3 years.
But when you have someone like Jimmy Butler calling you out that you can't play D, when he grabs in the post, Jimmy Butler's like, you don't got shit on me. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff, it adds to it, right?
It adds.
Imagine if he was playing against Kobe.
But put it back into context too, right? He's 23 years old. Cat is he's 23 years old, making $190 million. I think there's a lot of dynamics that go into the mental game. I feel like when it comes back to the end of the season, though, I think this year in the playoffs, he'll be more ready, given the struggle he had last year.
What playoffs?
Last year, like
You think they're gonna make the
they'll make the playoffs
Oh,
this
they're
year.
on danger.
They will make the
You think
playoffs.
they're gonna make the
I don't know
playoffs?
if they're making the playoffs.
Really? You guys don't think?
so.
the
No
Timberwolves
way.
make the
No
playoffs this
way.
year?
No way.
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one.
I think that no matter what, they have to trade Butler, right? Like everything that
I think
Butler's
so.
did at the beginning of the season, I feel like they have to trade him.
I would agree.
Like no matter what, I don't know exactly how Cat signed his contract, but I'm pretty sure part of that signing was you got to get rid of Butler because they already had beef
You can do
before
that.
that.
You
right?
can actually put that in your contract.
No, but I mean, like
You can't put it in your
could've
contract.
told, like if he went to the Wolves and told them, "Hey, I'm not signing if Butler's here," of course they're gonna pick Cat. They have to trade him, right?
Okay, so here's my question: if they trade Jimmy Butler, which we're gonna assume they are, is Karl Anthony Towns really ready to lead a team? Because I think that's what this whole thing comes down to. We talk about age, immaturity, like money. All of that doesn't matter. It's like some players, when you're young, like you have that instinct, you have that ability to lead a team. It doesn't matter. Like age, obviously, and maturity play a factor in it, but dude, you either have it or you don't. And we look at a player like Andrew Wiggins. I think at this point, it's fairly obvious to say that he's missing something. Like he's missing that it factor. And I think Karl Anthony Towns, he's starting to get exposed to the same aspect, right? And it's not even like, to your point, Jimmy, about Cat posting up Jimmy Butler and Jimmy Butler talking smack. When they were facing against the Lakers, there's a play down the stretch. Cat had Josh Hart on him, and he couldn't even put him out in the post. You have Josh Hart. Bro, a point guard, opposing point guard.
Josh Hart's nice.
Yeah, he's
Hart's
nice. I'm not saying he's not nice.
Josh
But you a
Hart,
you're a 7-footer. You have a 6'2", 6'3" guy on you. You're not putting him in the post. You're gonna settle for a 3-point shot? Really? Like I don't know, man. I think it just comes down to the it factor, and I don't know if he has it. Let's be honest.
Listen, those are some fighting words, man. I'm telling you, man. But hey, you bring up a really good point, right? Because no one's questioning his talent and his potential. We're questioning, does he have the it factor? Does he have the tenacity to do it himself? And you're right. He's had a few years to prove himself. I think he's been recognized. He hasn't been overlooked. No one's overlooked this guy. We've all given him the spotlight he deserves, and I don't think he stepped up to it. Like compared to other players who have received the spotlight like he has, I agree. Cat hasn't stepped up to that plate. I do think he can, though. I do think he has the it factor.
He's only 22.
23, yeah.
He's only
23 this year. Like, KG vouched for him. Remember, like, a few years ago, KG was like, this dude is going to be a problem, right? And I think KG imparted something. Maybe it'll give him a few years to develop, but I think it's there.
And then Jimmy Butler came in and took it. took the juice.
He just took it. Maybe that's it. And maybe that's the wrap, right? Who knows? Yeah. But oh man, it would break my heart though if that's true. It would break my heart.
But let's bring it back. So we posted on our Instagram channel a top 5 centers. Our pick for top 5 centers. For our listeners, if you guys haven't seen it, jump on our Instagram page at Mo Buckets Podcast. Check it out. Let us know if you guys agree with our rankings, and if you guys think we need to take out a player, add a certain player or whatnot. But so we have Cat in our top 5. We have what's our top 5? Let's run it down. So we got AD.
We have Jokic at number 5. We got Clint at number 4. We have Cat at number 3, Embiid at number 2, and AD at number 1. Listen, man, it was like the centers, to be honest, in today's league is actually really competitive. We have so many people that we left off. Mm-hmm. Hey, shout out to one big Andre Drummond.
We forgot about Dre.
Yeah,
forgot about Dre. But even still, I don't think Andre.
I don't think he would have made it, to be honest, because Rudy Gay would have been there at numbers 5 or 6 anyways.
Gobert, dog.
Rudy Gobert would have been the fringe contender, right?
Rudy Gay playing the C?
My bad. But you know what I mean? The center position is deep this year. We've got a lot of good centers, right?
Yeah. You got a lot of good up-and-coming centers, too, right?
Porzingis is not... We didn't even talk about Porzingis because he's injured. We didn't talk about DeMarcus Cousins because he's injured, right? There's so many good centers in today's league, which is... It's a good problem to be having. But yeah, how do you guys think Cat stacks up compared to the rest, man?
In my opinion, his stock's going down. I don't think Clint Capella should have been top 5. My opinion goes to Rudy Gobert.
You mean Rudy Gay?
Rudy. I hear you. Yo, it's a solid team, man. Again, I will say this one time for Clint. One of the most efficient centers we have in today's league. This guy, he's the definition of catch the ball and dunk it. He shot 65% last year. He's become a master at the pick and roll, off of James Harden.
But is that because of the Rocket system and James Harden?
100% because of the Rocket system, but he's effective within it, right? I don't think any other player, outside of Clint would have been that effective. He's adapted to that game. But let's keep it going, man. What do you guys think of these other guys? Does he rank up?
I don't know. I think he's firmly behind, obviously AD, number 1, Embiid for sure. I think you could even make the case Embiid 1B. Maybe
1A, 1B.
Yeah, if he stays healthy,
he's healthy. Yep. Because he's body skilled out.
I agree, and I think you have to put Cat at number 3 just because of his potential and what he already has. Yeah. He has to improve his defense for sure, but you compare him to anyone else below.
I like Jokic.
I was gonna say I like Jokic, man.
Jokic
I like him at 3.
Jokic is good. It's just again, I think if you're looking at full package in terms of athleticism as well, speed. Jokic is great offensively, but when you look at the potential on the defensive end, I think Cat for sure has more potential than Jokic does.
Yeah, but consistency wise, Jokic is a lot more consistent.
Yeah, up and down, man. And to Mitchell's point too, Jokic is not a dominant scorer. He's a great offensive center. He makes the right pass. Yeah. He's not a person that can just attack.
He's a triple-double threat.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? He's more of a passer than he is a dominant scorer, whereas Cat, I think, has that presence more. And just to Mitchell's
he can be. When he can be, right? Yeah. And he's shown that he can be.
And again, to Cat, I think we said this a few times, but his durability. Do you think that comes into play, especially in today's modern era of centers? AD and Embiid, the top 2 centers, are consistently known as injury prone. It's very rare to have a center that's that durable, right? And I think it says a lot.
I agree. Yeah.
You can build a franchise around a player that actually plays, right? And
he's probably durable because he's hanging out in the 3-point line, just shooting threes. What do you mean, right?
Even Josh Hart's calling him out, yo. Come get some. Come get some. But yeah, no, you're right, man. I think obviously it's still a small sample size, but I agree with Jimmy, man. I'm not impressed with Cat so far. I think his stock is on his way down, but who knows? If Jimmy Butler leaves, he might be bouncing back up. But speaking of people that are leaving, we got one that just got let go from Cleveland. We got the boy Ty Lue, the first coach that's been fired from the season. We got shocked at all?
Nope.
No,
6, right?
No one was shocked, but it's just kind of sad at the same time, right?
It's so early in the season.
It's so early, man. Dude, 6-7 games in.
I just find it funny that the whole season before, they're like, oh, Coach Lue, untouchable. We're not firing him. We're not firing him. This season, 0-6, fired. You know what I mean?
Jim, it's because the real coach LeBron was there. So now he got exposed, yo. He got exposed.
I think in today's NBA, especially for coaches, you're only as good as your last game, right? They look at your last stretch of games, how you've done. If you're on a cold streak, you're gone, man. Like, look at Blatt that year. Even though, off a great season with LeBron, they had a winning record. I think they were losing like 6 or 7 straight games, and then bam, he was gone.
Yeah.
Right? And this is kind of the same thing, and they're probably having a preliminary start because I think the real question is, are they going through a tank? Like, are they going to change?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think anything was really expected of the Cavs this year.
I thought they would make the playoffs.
I don't
Kevin Love?
think so.
Yo, I thought Kevin Love was going to
Yeah,
pull
Kevin
off.
Love, but the rest of that team, like, there's no one else on
Colin
that
Sexton?
team. He's
Tristan
a rookie.
Thompson?
You can't rely on
You're
these
right.
guys, right?
Did you
And
say Tristan Thompson, yo? Come on.
but it's crazy.
Stop.
It's crazy because they fired Lue. They're still paying Blatt. They're still paying Mike Brown. I'm pretty sure.
Brown. Yeah, I think.
Like,
They're going to be paying Tyronn Lue too.
And
Yeah,
paying
for
He's
him,
owed
yeah.
$15 million.
Listen,
This
Dan
dude's-
Gilbert's got money, right? So if anything, you don't got to worry about that because that doesn't go in the cap. Coaches' salaries don't go in the
It's out of his
cap.
pocket though.
But you think
and
Dan
with that
Gilbert
salary
cares?
cap, the salary that they have already, like they're already in luxury tax. I'm pretty sure.
No, for sure. Oh, they're a heavy bill, but it's Dan Gilbert, man. He's got enough money.
Well, who honestly wants to go and say, "Hey, I want to be the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers"? Even the what's his name?
Larry Drew,
Larry
yeah.
Drew's like,
He's
"Hey,
like,
are
"You
you gonna
don't
be are you gonna be the interim coach?" Like, no, I'm just the voice.
I'm good, fam. I'm good.
You know what I mean? Like, if you have a chance to become the interim head coach and you don't jump at that offer, that something's up.
Yeah.
Something's up.
It's the ruins of LeBron leaving, man. Like when you have a king leave a city like that, it's just hard to rebuild. And they got nothing back in return. He left as a free agent. He didn't go back. He didn't get unlike the first time, right? He got traded for 3 picks. This time he just left as a free agent, right? And it's end of an era. I hate to say it, man.
Yeah, and I think to that point, like when we talk about what's next for Cleveland, I agree. Like it's time to fully rebuild because I and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that they did give Kevin Love that massive deal. I guess just because you need to build around somebody, but I'd be surprised if Kevin Love was still on that team by the end of the season. Like I think as soon as he's eligible to be traded in January, I think if you're the Cavs, you got to blow up the team. Like it's time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like it is tough because again, when you look at them, even if they're all healthy and playing, they're not winning. They're not going to make the playoffs. So what it really is what really is the point of keeping that team together? I think you have to also trade Kyle Korver.
Yeah,
he'd be super useful on so many teams. And you
He's
have
getting
J.R.
old,
Smith
man.
too.
He's kind of on the way down.
But all you need him to make a few threes and have that threat out there.
It's crazy because I think a year removed with LeBron, all of these pieces have devalued. Like LeBron brought them all to their peak. And it's just astounding because in just 6 short games, you see what this team looks like without LeBron. And I think the team, the city will learn to appreciate him more. It's just time they have to, lick those wounds and just, hibernate for a year or two, man. Like
gotta keep them moving, man.
I think that's how it is, man. They got to keep them moving.
Gotta keep them moving.
All right, so so even though we're only about 10% of the way through the season, I wanted to discuss some of these starts. I know we kind of mentioned a few of those starts, but I'm going to name 3 teams, and you let me know. Do you think their start is real or is it fake?
Okay.
Do you think sustainable?
All right.
All right. So first team, Sacramento Kings. So currently they're 4-3. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They have a few games. The next 2 games are up against the Magic and the Hawks. So realistically, they could end up being 6-3, which puts them in the playoffs, early playoff race in the West. So right now they're also ranked 11th in offense and 18th in defense. Last year they were 29th in offense and 27th in defense. So pretty big jump in improvement. So what do you think? Do you think they're real or do you think they're fake?
I can't. I don't want to say they're real or fake. It's just they're playing well for what they have. They're playing well. De'Aaron Fox stepping up, Willie Cauley-Stein stepping up, waiting for Marvin Bagley to get more playing time. So if with those 3 guys, that's a good young core you can slowly build around.
Buddy Hield?
Huh?
Buddy Hield's in there too.
Yeah, but Buddy Hield maybe yeah. but what I'm saying is. It's a decent core you can try to build around. You're not going to probably win much, but maybe you can get a big free agent signing. Probably not, but they're doing well for what they have. They're doing well.
And I agree, man. Like I think their young team has kind of come together. They've just shown their grittiness, right? Like, no one expects them to come out and like win games like in dominant force, but it's just the fact that they're really putting it out there and they're trying. Like, Bielitsa, is that how you pronounce his name? Bielitsa, he's putting up numbers, man. This boy's putting up numbers, man. This Euro player, and like they've got some exciting games. If you look at them and how their start's been, like for context, they only won 27 games last year. Right?
Yeah.
Right now they're 4-3. They only won 27 games last year, so definitely think they've improved from last year. Can they sustain the start? Probably not. But I still think they'll have a much better season than last year.
I'm going 100% fake, yo. They're not sustaining this, man. If you look at the wins that they've had, yes, they're 4-3, but the wins that they've had against a struggling OKC, Memphis, struggling Washington, Miami. So
those are like they're not bad teams though, right? Those are all
they're not bad teams, but they're not great teams. Like when they do face a Denver, a Pelicans, Utah, Portland, like they're losing. They're losing to these guys, right? And I think like they've had a favorable schedule to date, and props to them because they're handling the business from that perspective. But I think once they start playing some top tier players. Once they start playing some top tier teams, I think that record's just gonna fall. Because I think just at the end of the day, there's not enough talent there. Because like there's still a couple of pieces away, and they're still very young. And this year will be great, like a great learning experience for them. But I don't see them making much noise.
Good point.
They also got. I think they'll be better than what they were last year. I think that's the main thing for this team. I mean, they don't have their first round pick this year. So they can't tank. So they really have no choice but to try and win. I think they'll be better than last year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I don't think anyone expected them to make the playoffs. But I do think that they will be better than that they've shown.
True. Agreed. Good points.
All right, so next team, the Milwaukee Bucks. Ooh. So currently they're the only unbeaten team left in the league. They're 7-0. They've beaten the Raptors, the 76ers, the Pacers. All really good teams in the East. Right now, they're 6th in offense and 2nd in defense. Last year, they were 10th in offense and 18th in defense. So, again, huge jumps across the board. New coach. What do you guys think? Real or fake?
I think they're real, especially with, Mike Budenholzer. They've moved on from the Jason Kidd era. With additions to Brook Lopez, I think that's an underrated signing. He stretches the floor for them. Yeah. Like now they don't have to play Thon Maker. They got some size too with the added improvement of Giannis instead of playing like an MVP.
Ilyasova is
exactly Ilyasova too. Like you can see why like a team like Philly is struggling now because they lost their shooters. They added Ilyasova, and you can see the record shows.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, man. I think it's like they're gonna be one of those teams that's gonna fly under the radar the whole season. And a lot of people will just look past the fact that they only have Greek Freak, like there's nobody else. But if you look at everybody else that's on the squad, like they have pretty talented players overall, man. Like Middleton's always a sleeper. This guy's been like playing out of his mind this year. Bledsoe is still there. You got another like year of improved Brogdon. He's there. You got like you said, you got pickups in Brook Lopez and Ilyasova. Thon Maker got another year better. So I wouldn't be surprised if they sneak in the in the East. You're looking at maybe the 6-7 spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they're there again.
I think
they'll be higher than that. I think they'll be like probably 4th seed if anything, man. 3 or 4 seed. Like to the question, man. I can't say they're real because there's no way they're going to sustain this.
They're not going to go 82.
They're not going to go 82. But they're a good team, and I think what's enabled them to be good is the fact that they're stretching out the floor. Like if you look at the pace that they played at, they've taken a lot more threes than they did last season, right? And are they going to make it? That was kind of the question. So far, they've been hitting some shots. Like Giannis has shot pretty decently to open the season. Bledsoe has shot really well. Middleton has shot he's always been there, right? And even Brogdon set up his 3-point game. Like I think that was always what they were lacking, 3-point shooting. And to Jimmy's point, right? Adding Brook Lopez, that kind of spaces the floor out quite a bit. So I think the elements are there. I really don't think they can sustain the shooting, though, because we've seen Bledsoe. Like, I've seen Bledsoe. I hate to say it, he hasn't shown that he can, as a point guard, like, he's a good shooter. He's just not the most efficient 3-point shooter, right? Same thing with Brogdon. He's a good shooter as well from the inside, but not a consistent knockdown 3-point shooter. And same thing with Giannis. That's always been like he can't have everything. You know what I mean? This guy's got everything, man. He can't. Is too much power if he was also to have like a ridiculous 3-point shot. So I think he's only human, and that's just the way it's supposed to be. Their team has not changed as much as you would think to better that element of 3-point shooting, but they've made the right steps. So definitely great start. I think they're amazing right now. I don't think they sustain this pace.
To your point about their threes, so last season they were ranked 27th in threes. This year, number 1 team.
Yeah. No, agree. Again, right? Like, is that sustainable though? Right? Like, come on. Realistically, do you think people are going to bounce from 27 to 6? If they can maintain that one stat alone, that would be so impressive. But nah, that's not happening. There's no way they're going to lead the league in threes.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good too. Again, like they're not going to be the number 1 team in the East. Probably not in top 3 teams. I do think they're probably number 4 team in the East. And again, I think it shows how important having a good coach really is.
You have them over Indiana?
Yeah, I could see them. I could see that.
Indiana's
good. Indiana's good, but I could see that happen.
Giannis over Indiana.
Yo, but on that note specifically though, like against that Toronto game the other day, they were just shooting lights out. Like I'm not sure if it's probably definitely part of the coaching. Credit to the coaching as well because they were able to space the floor like that. But just the players stepping up, like that's like I don't know what they did this offseason, man. Like maybe they did some good 3-point drills or something, but they're doing something right? And I think that's something that every team in the NBA needs.
True.
All right, so third team and last team, Houston Rockets. So currently they're 1-4. They've lost against the Clippers twice, and they've lost to the Pelicans and the Jazz. The only win that they had was against the Lakers when that whole brawl happened. So right now they're 19th in offense and 27th in defense. Last season they were 1st in offense and 7th in defense. So what do you think, real or fake?
I think the start is definitely fake. Come on, man. It's CP3. It's James Harden. It's Clint Capella. They will bring it back. Even though they had the departure of Trevor Ariza, which is a big piece.
In Bamute?
Bamute not as much, but for sure, definitely a wing. But I think Trevor Ariza is the big one. I think losing Trevor Ariza was the big piece of what's really going on because he was such a good wing. Like, he was just a good safety, right, to have on that team. He just gelled off really well. They'll come back. CP3 will come back. Come on, man.
Compared to last year, definitely they're going to do worse. Definitely. They can't repeat what happened last year, right?
You don't believe in Melo, man? You don't believe Melo's going to take them off?
Granted that, you have to factor in, the suspensions of CP3. Right now, James Harden's probably out for a whole week till Friday. Mm-hmm. So, that's going to couple a couple losses right now. That's why it's showing they're 1-4. They're going to bounce back. No problem. The offense is always going to be there. It's just, when it comes down to the playoffs, you're talking about their defense. What's going to happen? It might not look good.
I think they'll bounce back, man. I think this is fake. I think a lot of this I think we all said it, but it's just like there's a lot of adjustments right now they're still trying to make. Bring in that Melo, and don't forget they have MCW. He's got his own curse that he brings with him. But no, I think, and to that point, like they're not going to repeat what they did last season. Everything was clicking. These guys were firing on all cylinders last season. I think a lot of this is, they know that the regular season isn't, their whatever their regular season record isn't that important anymore. Like these guys are geared towards playoffs now. So I think as long as they get into a position, they don't even mind being the second, third, fourth, even fifth seed in the West. I think like they know what their end goal is, and right now they're just trying to iron out some kinks. So I think once everybody's back and healthy and on the same page, they're gonna do damage in the second half of the season.
Where do you guys think they're gonna end up in the West?
Standing wise?
The end of the season.
I think they still top 3. Like if not 2, 3. Because just they have the team, they have the pace, and they have the defense to really carry them.
They lost two of the biggest parts of their defense, right?
And
then they replaced it with Melo.
That's true.
But they replaced it with Melo.
That's true. Is Melo the ultimate, culture changer? Like, it's a tough one, man. I still think though, if they're healthy and they just have time to fit Melo in, they'll be good. Melo's gonna play into a starter. Like by the end of the season, I see it now. Melo's gonna be a starter, and I think he'll actually fit well. I can see them being a top 3 team in the West.
I see them. To be honest, I see them sliding down, man, to like maybe a 5th or 6th seed. Because if you look at the other teams that are up there, Utah's going to be up there. San Antonio's playing out of their minds. Denver's going to be up there, right? Pelicans are going to be there. So like
Pelicans destroyed. The Pelicans destroyed the Rockets first game.
Yeah, and Pelicans is no joke. AD's having a monster year, so I could see Rockets just sliding down to that 5th, 6th spot. But like I said, like seeding wise, doesn't matter to them. They have the experience now from last year, from the last couple of years, that as long as they're in the playoffs, they're going to be like the Lakers, man. Like no one wants to face them. All right, cool. So yeah, I think good discussions all around, man. It's always interesting, man. Like seeing which teams come out the gates hot and which teams come out the gates struggling. Because remember last year Detroit came out like smoking hot.
Orlando was coming out hot last year. Aaron Gordon,
Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Yo, man.
Yeah, now Frankie jumped on the Grizzlies wagon, and then
sad.
Went down in flames. But okay, cool. So let's keep it moving. We have to look at 3 upcoming games for next week, and just to revisit the wall of L's quickly. I'm racking up these L's, man. I gotta just take it easy right now.
Who's leading the race?
I'm leading the race. Jim, you know who's leading the race. Yeah.
I just want to know.
I'm leading the race. I got 4 L's right now.
It's not you.
And then
it's not you.
Jimmy's close behind with 3.
Okay.
Frankie's got 3 L's. Sean's got 3 L's. Mitch is killing it, man. He's got 2 L's. So just to recap, first person to 6 losses, 6 L's, treats the fam to
Cha time.
Shout out Cha time.
Shout out. Yo, get us on the deal, man. Get us on the deal.
We're looking for sponsorships, man. Sponsorships. All right, cool. So the first game we got this week, we got Utah versus Denver.
It's a good game. Man.
That's on Saturday.
It's a good game of 2 young teams, man.
Drop y'all picks.
This is a good game of 2 young teams.
Who's home?
At
Denver.
Denver. Easy.
Yeah, it's true. I forgot about that. This is at Denver. They've got one of the most unique home court advantages. I'm going Denver.
I'm going to go Denver too.
Jimmy?
I think they're going to be so much faster than Utah.
What do you got, Ben?
You said Denver? Yeah. Denver, okay. Oh, you guys all got Denver. I want to say Denver, but Utah's playing nice right now, man. I'm going to go Denver. I'm going to go Utah. Let's see. Go Utah. All right, and then we got Toronto versus LeBron James. This was the first of the meeting.
Is Kawhi going to play this game? Will Kawhi be rested or will he actually be playing this game?
100% he's playing. 100%.
Away game?
It's a away game. It's in LA. Woo! That's on Sunday.
It's going to be so exciting.
Oh, man.
I'm going to go against my heart. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to go with Toronto. I think, like, it's crazy to bet against LeBron, but this is why Kawhi was signed. Like, this is going to be a big statement game. I think this is going to be circled in the calendar, and he'll be ready. So I'm going to go with Kawhi. And shout out to Kawhi. He's been on fire to start the season.
Yo, can we talk about that steal for a second? The fact that he was able to jump on the floor without looking and intercept that bounce pass, that's ridiculous. I've never seen that.
I'm so excited as a Raptors fan. It's crazy. Let me believe, guys. Let me believe.
All right, cool. So you got Toronto. Jimmy.
This is an easy pick, man. You got to go with LeBronto, man. Come on. LeBronto.
Okay. All right. Mitch.
I think I got to go with, as much as I love the Raptors, and I think they're going to be amazing, I think that the Lakers are going to win this.
Ooh, so split. I'm going with the claw.
Going with the claw.
I think this game will mean more to Toronto than it does to LA. And I think because it's in LA, Raptors are going to come in focus and they're going to be firing on all cylinders. Okay, last one we got Miami at Detroit on Monday. This should be a good game too, man. 2 physical teams. Eastern battle. Who y'all got?
I got to ride the hot team. Detroit basketball.
Yo, shout out to Andre Drummond. This is a tough one, man. I think Jimmy's right here, though. You got to give Andre Drummond some props. I feel like he's coming out possessed. Him and Blake are playing nice. They're going to be too much to stop on the size, man. They're a big front court. I think they'll be a problem to handle. I think Detroit's going to take it at home.
Detroit. Mitch?
I'm going to go Miami. I think Miami has the tools to stop all of them.
All right. I agree with everything Frankie and Jimmy said. I'm going Detroit because Blake Griffin's just playing out of his mind right now. Ooh. This dude's just... And I think Dwayne Casey's getting the best out of him. So, All right, cool. So we got those locked in. And just to remind our listeners, our website is officially live. We got mobucketspodcast.com. That's our central hub that, that's where we're uploading all our content. We got articles up there. We got analysis. We got opinion pieces. And we got our podcast up there. So wherever you guys typically catch our podcast, whether it's on YouTube, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, whichever platform you guys choose, all of that's, conveniently linked in for you guys on the site. So go over, check it out. All those links are in our bios. And we want to give a shout out to our boy JP, J-Rod Money, for all the dope video animations he's helping us put together. So head over to our YouTube channel, hit that listen, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and show us some love. Leave some comments whether you guys think we're crazy with our hot takes or if you agree with some of what we're saying. So other than that, I think we're good. Anything else from you guys?
No, all good.
We're all good, man.
We're all good. All right, man. So we'll keep it locked in. We'll keep watching ball, man, and we can't wait for next week. Until next time, keep getting buckets.
Peace.